So good afternoon, everybody. And this webinar is to give the overview of PhUSE activities, especially to our PhUSE members in China, and then help them understand how China members can actively contribute to PhUSE. And before going over the slides, I just wanted to let you all know that we have a very strong PhUSE community in China, and we organize single day events in Shanghai as well as Beijing, and we get like around 80 to 100 participants in those single day events. So there is a lot of opportunity within China where you can contribute, and at the same time I will show you on these slides how you can contribute in the global PhUSE forums, and I'll show you what those forums are, what they are actually doing, and what we expect out of anybody who is planning to be actively engaged. So let me go over the slides now. So here you can see that PhUSE is the world's largest biometric society. In 2008, we just had 500 members, but last year we had more than 7,000 members. And in 2017, we expect that this number will go even bigger. Other thing which I wanted to tell you was that in case if you have any questions which you want to ask during the session, then feel free to type that in your chat window, and I will take up those questions as and when they come in or towards end of this webinar. Then we had a PhUSE Computational Science Symposium in Washington, and we organize this event once in a year, every time in March, and we get around 30 to 40 people from US FDA who participate in this, and we get another 250 to 300 people from pharma and CROs. What we did last year was that we asked people to share their experience of PhUSE, and we used an app called Poll Everywhere to analyze the responses. So basically any word which is typed multiple times has the biggest font. So here you can see that collaboration has the biggest font. So most of the people who are working with PhUSE, they see this as an organization which collaborates. Then you can see a lot of other things like networking, enthusiastic, informational, transparent. So people who are very actively engaged with PhUSE, they are getting a lot of benefits out of it. And on this slide, I have just tried to pull in all the conferences which we had so far. So PhUSE started in 2005, and till this year we have had like an annual conference in Europe, and from next year we are planning to have an annual conference in Europe and also in US. So this slide shows you all the 12 conferences we had, and if you want to explore more on what was presented in these conferences, then you can go to PhUSE website and you can get more details there. This year we are planning for a conference in Edinburgh from 8th to 11th of October, and each and every conference has a theme, and for this year's conference the theme is digital innovations in healthcare. So it's going to be very interesting, and if any one of you want to participate or if you want to present a paper, then you can go on PhUSE website and there is an option from where you can submit your paper and if shortlisted, you will be invited to come and present in this conference. So apart from this annual conferences, we also organize single day events, and the main reason of organizing single day events is that these are local in nature. So if somebody wants to attend a PhUSE annual conference, that person will have to travel to Europe. But if somebody wants to attend a single day event, they can do it locally in their own country. And these single day events, they are becoming very popular because in 2008 we just had 3 single day events and there was participation of 127 people. But you can see that last year we had 18 single day events and there were more than 1400 people who participated. Similarly, in 2015 we had 18 single day events and more than 1400 people participated. And this year we are celebrating the 100 single day events across globe. And if you want to get an idea of the events which we are planning in China, then just thought to let you know that there is an event planned in Beijing and there is another event planned in Shanghai. And if you go on the PhUSE website, you can get more details around the co-chairs of the event and you can contact them if you want to present or in case if you want to contribute in any other capacity in these two events. So for 2017, if you look globally, we have planned for 21 global events, out of which 6 are in US, 7 are in Europe, and 8 are in Asia Pacific, 2 in China, 2 in Japan, and 4 in India. These are the annual conferences planned for 2017. So I told you on previous slide that we used to have a computational science symposium in Washington DC every year in which we have a very good participation from FDA. Looking at success of that computational science symposium, there was a request from people in Europe to have a similar conference in Europe as well. So last year we had one in Switzerland and this year we are planning for one computational science symposium in London, that is on 19th and 20th of June. So if any one of you want to know more about computational science symposium, I will cover on my subsequent slides that what are the working groups and how you can get more information. But these are quite interesting. So in case if you are planning to travel to US in March or if you are planning to be in Europe in June, I would recommend that you go and attend and explore more of these two computational science symposiums. Then in October we have our Europe annual conference in Edinburgh and that one is also quite interesting. So these are the 3 conferences which we have planned in 2017. Next year, looking at success of our annual conference in Europe and demand from US, where people said that they want to have some local conference in US as well, we are planning in month of June next year to have our first US annual conference. So if you are planning to be a presenter or a participant in that conference, you will see some more details posted around this annual conference on the PhUSE website towards end of this year. This slide gives you an overview of PhUSE working groups. So in the center you can see PhUSE board of directors and I am the Asia representative on the board. and I manage all events in Europe, in China, Japan, and India. And then there are different steering committees who sort of manage other activities. So for computational science symposium, there is a steering committee, and then we have got working groups who are looking primarily into these five areas. One is emerging trends, where they are looking at new trends coming in the pharma R&D. Then there is another group on optimizing use of data standards. They look that how we can optimize the existing data standards in order to improve quality as well as efficiency. Then there is another working group around standard analysis and code sharing. This working group is creating standard SAS programs and they are putting it in a shared location from which anybody can access. Similarly, there is a working group on non-clinical topics who are working on SEND and some other similar things. So this is about computational science symposium in which we work very closely with regulators. Then there is another group called data transparency, and most of you are might be already aware about policy 0070, which talks of de-identification and anonymization of data. So we have interpreted that policy and we have written white papers on SDTM de-identification standards as well as on ADAM de-identification standards. So if you want to have a look at it, please feel free to go on PhUSE website and explore. Then we recently started with a data metrics and KPI reporting work stream because we realized that all companies, they have their own ways of measuring study level and submission level KPIs, and now we are trying to come up with ground rules and definitions, and we are taking inputs from pharma companies as well as CROs. So they are very actively engaged with the working group and trying to come up with the definitions which can be used and later may be utilized by all pharma companies and CROs globally. Then we have very good partnership with European Medicines Agency, with US regulatory agency FDA, as well as with Japan regulatory agency PMDA. And we also work very closely with CDISC. So what we are doing at the moment is completely aligned with what these regulators are looking for and is also aligned with the standards which CDISC is trying to develop. Then there is one more interesting committee called Future Forum, and this is looking into all the processes in different sectors and evaluating to see how we can make use of those processes in the pharma space. Similarly, there is another group within Future Forum which looks into all the technologies. So for example, in future we know that a lot of data will come from wearables and sensors. So the current databases will not be suitable in order to store and manage the data which will be coming. So this group is looking into finance, banking, and trying to analyze and understand how big data is being stored, how that is being analyzed, and how that is being used in that particular space. And from that learning, we will see how we can use it in pharma space. So if you want to connect with people from non-clinical, then we have Sue from Sanofi and we have Patty from FDA. These two people are very much engaged with non-clinical topics. And there are many projects which are ongoing. So these are the active projects and for each project there is a project lead. So if you want to actively contribute in any one of these projects, you can contact Sue or Patty. And in case if you want to add any other project, then again you can contact Sue and Patty and take their opinion, and maybe you can start your own project as well. Then we have Mary from Lilly and Hanming from Accenture. They are very actively engaged with standard analysis and code sharing, and these are the active projects. So there is a project around the script discovery and acquisition, another project around repository content and delivery, and then we have got test dataset factory. So these are the projects which are very active. This group is working very hard from last 4 years, and they have created a lot of standard codes repository as well as standard requirements. So if you want to be part of this working group, you can contact Mary and Hanming. Then we have got another working group on optimizing use of data standards, and this group was also formed in 2012, and you can see on the screen that there are many active projects with this particular working group as well. So if you are interested to contribute to this particular working group, then you can contact Jane from Lilly or Susan from Max Likelihood. Then we have got another working group on linked data and graph data sets, which is running 2 projects at the moment. If you want to contribute, you can contact Scott from PhUSE or Tim from PhUSE. They will be more than happy to engage you in these 2 projects. Then we have got another stream on emerging trends and technologies. Again, this was established in 2012. They have done a lot of work in this particular area, and they have many interesting projects which are ongoing. You can see that there is a project on cloud adoption in life sciences industry, and all of you know that there is too much focus now on cloud. So it will be very good if you are interested to join this and get to know more about it. Then they are also working on a statistical computing environment. In that, they are trying to come up with an architecture so that they have a standard tool where everybody can run their programs, including regulatory agencies. And this will help us to avoid a lot of duplications which we have in the process at the moment. All of you know that there is a lot of focus on data visualization for clinical trials, and this group is also very actively looking into data visualization. Nowadays there are a lot of transport files which are being posted here and there because we have to transfer data. So this group is also working on evaluation of alternative transport formats. So there are a lot of interesting things which are going on in emerging trends and technologies working group. If you want to get to know more details, then you can contact Jeff from PhUSE or Ian from Device. Then this is the Future Forum working group, which is looking into all the processes from other industries, and they are trying to do an analysis and understand which of those processes can be used in pharma R&D. And at the moment they have 2 active projects. One is evaluation of data processes in other industries, and second one is around professional development. So evaluation of data processes in other industries is basically looking into the processes in pharma industry, because all of us know that they are very lengthy and they take a lot of time to change. So this group is exploring how other industries, both regulated as well as non-regulated, how they process their data and update their process as data and requirements change in their industry. And if you look at the details of professional development, this working group believes that it is important to ensure that the role of a clinical data scientist stays relevant and continues to evolve from primarily a programming role to the current status, providing more input into requirements to the future, where hopefully this working group will lead different tasks. So these are a lot of interesting things which are happening in PhUSE at the moment. And if you want to be part of this working group, then you can contact Chris from Roche or Shafi from Shafi Consultancy. Then in future forum, there is also a group on interoperability and technology. And if you want to get more details about this group, then you can contact Paul from Danone and Nalin from GC Solutions. Then we have got another working group on data metrics and KPI reporting. And for submissions, you can contact Beat from Analytical Software or LS from Bayer. If you want to get to know more about study level KPIs, then you can contact Caroline from Inventive or Paulina from Novartis. If you want to see what ground rules and definitions they are putting in for PhUSE data metrics and KPI reporting, then you can contact Hanming from Accenture, Ivan from PhUSE, or Avinash Reddy from SLS. If you want to know more about data transparency and how SDTM de-identification standards and ADAM de-identification standards work, then you can contact Jan Mark from PhUSE. So that is basically end of my presentation, and I hope you got an overview of what PhUSE is all about. You got an overview of the annual conferences which we organize in different parts of the world. I hope you got an overview of single day events which we organize locally, and you also got an overview of our collaboration with different regulatory agencies as well as pharma companies. I also told you about all the forums which we have, the working groups which we have, and how you can contribute there. I also told you about the people who you can contact, and all these details, they are also available on PhUSE website. So in the end, I would say that please go and visit our website to get more details on what these groups are doing. And at the moment, we are looking for volunteers because this PhUSE is a voluntary organization, and more the number of volunteers, the more things which we can do. So feel free to explore the website, and you can also contact the board of directors in case if you want to discuss anything with them. You can also contact the leads and co-leads of these working groups if you want to discuss something with them as well. So Jen, that was it which I had to present.
Yep.
Now if somebody has any questions, I can address that.
Don't think there's any at the moment, but obviously if anyone thinks of questions after, please do email the PhUSE office and we can pass anything on. So if you think of something later on, just email the PhUSE office, which is office@phuse.eu, and we can pass on any questions to Sarvesh.
Okay, so thanks everybody for attending, and please look for this Shanghai and Beijing events and try to be an active participant or a presenter. Thanks everybody.
Okay,
Thanks Jen.
thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.